Good morning, my dear students. Good morning, my dear moms. Today we are going to take our new story. We're done with our previous story. It was the discovery of Machu Picchu. But now, today, we have a new story, page 356. 356. I want you all to open your book and to follow me. Okay? I'll do this video. Actually, our story today it's about a very famous athlete, a very famous and great athlete. His name is Jim Thorpe. The famous athlete today is Jim Thorpe. Jim Thorpe is a very, very famous legend or a famous athlete in America. A famous and great athlete in America. Today, our story is a biography about his life. Today, our story is a biography about his life. Okay? Also, our story today is a biography about this man's life. What is it? What's the name of our hero today? Our character or our hero today is Jim Thorpe. Our hero or our character today is Jim Thorpe. Okay? Open your book, as I said, page 356. You have the story. Jim Thorpe's Bright Path. Jim Thorpe's Bright Path by Joseph Prochak, illustrated by S.D. Nelson. By Joseph Prochak, illustrated by S.D. Nelson. Okay? We will listen to the video of the story. While we are listening, I'll explain, and I hope you will understand what I'm explaining. We will divide our story into 3 parts. Today we will take just a little part, and tomorrow another part, and after tomorrow another part, because we are not in the school. Okay, so if we are in the school, we will read it, for example, 2 times only. But this time, I'll divide it into some parts, so I hope that you will understand. If you have any question, also contact me, okay? Our story is a biography about this athlete. Of course, you know the meaning of athlete. It's a player or sportsman. Okay? Let's start page 356.
D. Nelson. Genre. A biography is the story of a real person's life as told by someone else. As you read this biography, think about why the author chose to write about this athlete.
They say Jim Thorpe's story began in May of 1887 in a small log cabin on the North Canadian River. There in the Indian Territory that became the state of Oklahoma, Charlotte Rhea Thorpe, a Potawatomi woman, gave birth to twin boys. Her husband Hiram.
Here he is telling you about the mother of Jim Thorpe. His mom gave birth to twins, okay? Twin boys. His mom gave birth to twin boys. So he has a twin. Okay? Twin means that he has he has a brother, okay? Was born with him in the same time. Okay? Now this part is talking about his mother, that she gave birth to twin boys, okay? And the name of his father and where they start exactly on the North Canadian part. They have an Indian territory. Territory means a place or area, okay?
Mixed blood Indian of the Sac and Fox Nation stood close by on that spring day. The sun was in Hiram Thorpe's heart as he looked down at the sons he named Charles and James. Jim's mother gave him another name. Walk the hook, she said, thinking of how the light shone on the road to their cabin. Bright Path. As good as that name was, neither of them knew just how far that path would lead their son. Like most twins, Jim and Charlie were close, even though they were not exactly the same. Charlie had darker skin and brown hair, while Jim's skin was light and his hair dark black.
Here he is telling you that Jim's mother, she gave him another name, Bright Path. Bright Path. Actually, I think she wants a very good future for her son. After that, he is telling you that Jim and Charlie were so close, but actually they were not the same features. They weren't the same from out. Charlie had darker skin and brown hair, while Jim's skin was light and his hair was dark black. Okay, now he is telling you about how they look like. Okay, let's complete.
When they raced or wrestled, Jim was always a little ahead of Charlie, his best friend. Whenever Jim got too far ahead, he would stop and wait. "Come on, Charlie," he would say with a grin. Then, when his brother caught up, they would be off again. Summer or winter, Jim and Charlie's favorite place was outdoors. They roamed the prairies, swam, and played together. By the time they were 3, Pa Thorpe had taught his boys to ride a horse. He showed them how to shoot a bow, set a trap, and hunt. Jim took to it all like a catfish takes to a creek. Although small, he was quick and tough. He was so fast and had so much endurance that he could run down a rabbit on foot.
He is telling you that Jim was so fast. Jim was so fast that he is even could make a race with a rabbit. Imagine how he was so fast, and this was one of his qualities that will help him after to be as we can say to be a very good athlete. Okay.
When it came to the old ways, those skills that made the men of the Sac and Fox great providers for their families, Jim was a great learner. By the time the twins were 6, Pa Thorpe said Jim knew more about the woods than many men. Their 6th year also brought a big change for Jim and Charlie. The Indian agency that oversaw the reservation said that when Sac and Fox children reached age 6, they had to go to the agency boarding school. Indian boarding schools did not provide the same education offered to whites. In addition, the boarding schools were designed to cut them off from everything that made them Indians: their language, their traditions, even their families. Jim's father had become one of the few Sac and Fox men who could read and write English. He'd seen uneducated Indians cheated out of everything.
He is telling you that Jim's father was a very educated man. Okay, he was well educated. And now they will go to a boarding school. Now they will go to a boarding school to learn. Okay?
Thing by dishonest men who tricked the Indians into signing papers they could not read. "My sons," he said to Jim and Charlie, "you need white men's knowledge to survive."
He is telling them that so nobody can deceive you if you learn. And if you wanted to survive between the Americans or the white people, you have to learn like their knowledge. Okay?
It was no surprise that Jim hated school. He had to wear awful clothes: a heavy wool suit, a felt cap, tight shoes, a shirt and necktie that strangled him. He also got smacked hard across his knuckles with a wooden ruler whenever he spoke a word at Sac. He missed Ma's cooking and Pa's stories about their clan ancestor, Chief Blackhawk, the famous warrior who had fought the whites to defend his people. Worst of all, school kept Jim inside all day and locked him up all night in a cold dormitory.
Because it's a boarding school, so he will live there. Boarding schools means that the students will go and live there. Just in weekends or in vacation, they will go to visit their families. But all the week, they will stay in the school. Even they will sleep there. Okay, you got it? These are the boarding schools.
Away from the forest and prairies. It made him feel like a fox caught in an iron trap. Jim didn't care about what school might do for him or his people. He just wanted to get away from it. Charlie was better at his studies than Jim. He didn't seem to mind the military discipline or being stuck at a desk. Solving an arithmetic problem was a challenge to Charlie, the way winning a race was to Jim. Now it was Charlie who was waiting for his brother to catch up. Come on, Jim.
Here they are telling that Charlie was better than Jim in studies. His twin Charlie was better than him. Okay?
Charlie said, don't give up, you can do it. So Jim tried to master basic arithmetic, reading, and writing. Then, in his third year of school, something happened that broke his heart. Sickness often struck the crowded, unheated dormitories of the Indian boarding schools. Sanitation was poor, and there were no real doctors to tend the sick. Epidemics of influenza swept through like prairie fires. Even common childhood diseases, such as measles and whooping cough, could be fatal to the Indian children jammed together in those schools. Charlie was one of those who became.
Here, one incident happened that Charlie will be so sick. He is telling you that this Indian school wasn't good from what we say, from the healthy, it wasn't healthy for these boys. Many diseases appeared, and Charlie became sick. Okay, let's complete. Who is Charlie? Charlie is the twin of Jim. Charlie is the twin of Jim.
Sick. He caught pneumonia and died. Jim felt as if the sunlight had gone from his life. His twin brother,
after catching a disease, he died. Charlie, his twin, died. Now Jim is alone, without his brother. He is so sad. He will live a miserable life.
Had been his best friend. Jim's mother tried to comfort her son, but he was inconsolable. He would never hear Charlie's encouraging voice again. The thought of going back to school without his brother tore at Jim's heart. Let me work around the farm, Pa, Jim begged. His father, though, was sure he knew what was best. Son, he said, you have to get an education. Charlie would have wanted you to keep learning. Jim tried to listen to his father, but when he returned to school and saw the empty cot where Charlie had slept, it was too much for him. As soon as the teacher's back was turned, Jim ran the 23 miles back home, straight as an arrow. Pa Thorpe had no choice but to send his stubborn son even farther away. So young Jim, at age 11, was sent to Haskell Institute in Lawrence, Kansas, almost 300 miles away. Haskell was stricter than the agency boarding school.
When Jim went back to the school without his brother, he felt so sad. Actually, he ran away from the school, and he ran 23 miles back home. Imagine, he ran 23 miles back to his home. Okay, and he will go to a new institute or new school. Only today we will take this part. Tomorrow we will complete the second part of the story. I hope you followed me, and we will complete tomorrow. Thank you and goodbye.